Joe Biden, bit of luck for him, has finally found an enemy he likes, one that doesn't shoot back. The weather. What a relief for the president this week to be able to change the topic and pick a fight with the weather, with Hurricane Ida. After the Taliban humiliated him in Afghanistan last month, forcing the US to scramble out of Kabul in scenes of utter chaos. Nice weather there at least. Have a look. Lovely sunny day. But in the US, Hurricane Ida. Not so nice weather. And Biden declared war. His security advisors, these military types who couldn't see the Taliban coming, who couldn't organise a proper military evacuation of the country in good time, well, at least when it comes to the weather, Biden's top security advisors have suddenly become experts in that at least. And they have his willing ear, and they've all declared Code Red.
Folks, we got to listen to the scientists and the economists and the national security experts. They all tell us this is Code Red. The nation and the world are in peril. That's not hyperbole.
Well, Joe, it is hyperbole. I guess that's where we get to your true expertise, an existential crisis. Hurricanes like you've never seen. In fact, there's actually more truth to that than he knows. Global warming alarmists in the United States have in fact been waiting and waiting for years for another hurricane to come along so they could hype that as the start of the end of the world. For 16 years they've waited for a good one, since Al Gore, another opportunist right there. He made a huge marketing opportunity from Hurricane Katrina and said that was global warming and hurricanes would get worse and worse and worse, but instead things got a lot better. There's been no major hurricanes in the US for years. In fact, scientists, the people that Biden tells us to listen to, not that he does, scientists say there's still no firm evidence of more big tropical hurricanes hitting land around the world, but that Joe Biden, he can apparently see a trend that they can't. Joe Biden, he can see this global warming catastrophe as clearly as he can remember visiting the Tree of Life synagogue after the murders there, even if skeptics and deniers claim that's not true either. But turns out this war on the weather so far is actually going as badly as the one in Afghanistan. To be blunt, Joe Biden is being towelled up. China this week handed him his hat. Biden had sent his fool of a climate envoy, John Kerry, over to China this week to ask them very nicely to please promise to cut their emissions just a little bit before this big Glasgow summit on global warming. So, the president's got to be able to announce some victory somewhere, and Glasgow was going to be it. But did you hear how China treated John Kerry? Have to say, it was with all the respect that the Taliban are now showing to the American hostages that they won't let fly out from Mazar-e-Sharif. China's foreign minister, well, this guy had been perfectly happy a couple of weeks ago to meet the Taliban leader, now the president, but he wouldn't meet John Kerry, not one-on-one anyway. He said, we'll just talk over video, even though Kerry had actually flown into China with his list of demands. And it just got worse from there, went downhill all the way. I mean, there's Kerry, could China please cut its emissions just a little bit? No. Well, could China please stop funding more coal-fired power stations around the world? Well, no to that either, and no to everything on his list. China, he was told, was going to do things its own way. Not even a pretense of diplomacy here. China said it's going to do things its own way because it's got the United States under Joe Biden exactly where it wants with global warming. It's increasing its own emissions, emitting more than the whole developed world put together, the US included. And it's doing that in part by building more and more cheap coal-fired power stations. Or put it this way, China is using the global warming cult of the West, the one that's obsessing Joe Biden, is using this, exploiting this, or China is exploiting this to get stronger. while the US gets weaker, making all these cuts, green deals and all this kind of thing. And who would have thought that it would work out this way? Global warming, China getting stronger, US getting weaker. I tell you who wouldn't have seen it coming. Not Joe Biden's national security advisors. The guys that just lost Afghanistan now look like losing a war even over the weather. Code red, all right.